Drivers, to your car.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome here as we are live from Michigan International Speedway for the running of the 9th race of the 5th season of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series. The Irish Hills getting ready to play host for the 5th time on the schedule. We've got a little bit of history that can be made here today. We'll get to that in just a moment. But there's going to be 29 drivers getting ready to take the green flag here today. Another team formulated between last week and this week's event. Again, for those that may not know, signups are still open, still available for drivers to be able to sign up and have a three-person car or three-person team. That is still going on. It will be going on during the remainder of the season pretty much. So we'll be interested to see about this brand new team, which we'll introduce in just a few moments. But first things first, take a look at our front row. Mike Tellier is going to get his first career NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series pole position, as he'll be alongside of Colin Cropley. Now, both of these teams, the 55 and the 01, both needing a little bit of luck, but in different ways. Last week at Pucaco, we ended up having a DNF for the 55 team, Anthony McCurry finishing dead last in that event. 55 team subsequently dropped outside of the top 5 of the point standings. They are 11th in points coming into today's race. On the flip side, though, there's just not been a whole lot of luck coming in the direction of the 01 team, as they currently find themselves sitting 17th in the point standings. Now, I guess the good news is, though, that they are only 62 points out of the points lead, and as we'll be seeing in just a moment, as long as you've got a win, you've got yourself leapfrogging all the other drivers ahead of you in the point standings that don't have a victory. So, big opportunity here for a lot of drivers in the field today to either get themselves their first win on the season and be able to jump up in the point standings, or for some of these drivers, 8 teams in total that have already found a checkered flag this season, add a second win into that column and I wouldn't say solidify themselves a playoff position, but I honestly believe if you're going to make it into the playoffs, you've got to have at least 2, maybe 3 wins for your specific team in order to make sure you lock yourself into the playoffs. Speaking of the playoffs, I unfortunately did not have enough time here today to be able to get the entire point standings put together on the graphics, but we're going to do something a little bit different here, with this being the 3rd race that all 3 drivers for each respective team would be taking part in at this point in time. And this is what the playoffs would look like if the season were to end right now, if we weren't even to take the green flag here today. Haas Racing, KB Racing Enterprises, Pigeon Racing, 2 of their entries, TCW Racing, Auto Junction Racing 77, Lake Effect Autosports 74, and Northeast Motorsports 48. Those teams have all gone to victory lane. If you go down the list, it's Matt Haas, William Micros, Zach Rogers, Ryan Acosta, Cole Baker. My mind just went blank on who the 77 was. That's right, it was Robert Crown Jr. and then Bradley Ream and Austin LaPlante. Those were the drivers that put those respective cars in victory lane. They right now have wins. Right now, they'd be locked into the playoffs, which means at this point in time, 2 spots inside of the playoffs with 10 drivers advancing would be open to drivers pointing their way in. Right now, it'd be the 19 out of Pigeon Racing and the 78 out of Auto Junction Racing, but still a long season still to go. A lot can still change between now and then. We're going to be giving you your starting lineup. We'll talk about this brand new formulated team, but first things first, let's go down trackside for pre-race ceremonies, beginning with today's national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Drivers, start your engines!
Two former winners here at Michigan going to be in the field here today as the pace car leads this 29-car field off of pit road. And here's a look at your starting lineup here today from Michigan. Mike Tellier is going to be the pole sitter alongside of Colin Cropley. Ryan Acosta, winner last time out at Bristol when these Tri-Terry drivers were on the racetrack. He's going to line up alongside of Daniel Voiles in row 2. Andrew Gonzalez and Carson Grob, they make up row 3. Jordan Lopez, two-time Michigan winner, will be alongside of Mitchell Collins in row 4. And then Zachary Taylor and the defending winner of this race, Adam Garcia, will complete the top 10. Pierce Crone and Reggie Fogelman, that's the new debuting driver. They're going to be in row 6. Allison Rodrigo and Keith Batson, they're in row 7. Row 8 finds Matthew Rodriguez and Harrison Ponder. Row 9, Riley Henry and Michael Norman. Row 10, completing the top 20, Jacob Thibodeau and Andrew Davis. Former winner Robert Crown Jr. this season, he rolls off 21st alongside of Jackie Halleck, Will Goss, and Cole Deaver. They're back in row 12. Alex Tanker and Benjamin Miles, they're in row 13. Row 14 finds Alexander Rowe and Caleb Fogler, and James Shelley will start 29th shotgun on the field here today. Lopez took the checkered flag here in seasons 1 and 2 at Michigan. He'll look to be the first 3-time winner at a track ever. Adam Garcia got his first career win here 1 year ago, which was one of 3 that he would get back in the 4th season. The other former winner not in the field here today back in season 3 was a rookie, Nathan Hudson, driving the 24 out of Northeast Motorsports. Who will put their name in the record books at Michigan today? We're about to find out. Green flags in the air. Let's roll. Out of turn 2, double wide all the way back, but I guarantee you from what we saw in practice, these drivers will not be afraid to take it 3 wide, maybe even 4 wide on occasion. Ryan Acosta trying to go back-to-back in his starts to the 32 team out of Pigeon Racing. He's going to come around and he is going to lead the first lap of this race. Here comes Jordan Lopez, the former champion, 2-time winner here at this racetrack. He might get put in the middle 4 wide. Bradley Ream on his outside, Cropley way up top, and that was Zach Taylor that made the move on the inside line in the 95 Home Depot Chevrolet, and it worked. They all made it work somehow, some way, as Mike Tellier wants the race lead back. Mentioned the 55 team coming into this race, 11th in the point standings. The 32 team, after Acosta's win back at Bristol, a good run last week by Chris Dollerton, has kept them up there in the point standings. Right now, they are 8th in the overall points coming into this one. As we saw with the free formatted points, if the playoffs were to begin right now, I don't like the look of this. Oh, Matthew Rodriguez sent up into Ryan Acosta. Robert Crown Jr. forced it 4 wide. Benjamin Miles is going to get a piece. Pierce Crone is around. Bradley Ream is around, and you just kind of got the feeling something like that was going to happen. Caution's out for the first time today on lap number 3 as drivers make their way back to the start-finish line. It will be Mike Tellier bringing them back to the caution. Will Goss is going to be in 2nd. Looks like Trent Dunham crossed in 3rd. And then Allison Rodrigo and Jacob Thibodeau, they completed the top 5. That's 2 drivers right there. The 19, Matthew Rodriguez, the 8, Pierce Crone, who are up there in the hunt for the overall points lead. Coming into this race, the 8 team had 21 points over the 19 team. Miles with a lot of damage on the front end there, and also some pretty good damage on the 74 of Bradley Ream, our winner from, or make that correction. That's actually Andrew Gonzalez. I've been misappropriating the driver of the 74 here in the opening stages. So my error on that. Pit road's open. I don't know if they'll come down or not. They will. Interesting. So let's actually go back and take a look at a replay of what happened there on the back straightaway. And I'm not certain, but I think our ticker might not be working. I think a big reason for that is because we ended up having an error with NR when it started up. So, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to have a ticker here today. And it would do no good to go back and try and restart the program, because I guarantee you if I did that, the game would probably crash again. So, apologies there. Unforeseen circumstances, nothing that we can really fix. Just going to have to deal with it here today, so I'll do the best that I can to try and let you guys know who is running where, as here's a look at it. I want to see if we can maybe get a better angle of what exactly happened. That's Will Goss on the bottom, Robert Crown Jr. in the middle, Matthew Rodriguez up a little bit higher, and I think maybe, does Goss force the 77 up into Rodriguez? He might. I think the 77 of Crown Jr. was already pushing up, but just wasn't a whole lot of room there between the 77 and the 19. Nowhere for Andrew Gonzalez to be able to go. Cat Batson, close call there for the 39. And watch there, Benjamin Miles. He sees a hole on the inside, goes for it, and then tries to pull back up when Rodriguez slides down the track. Nowhere for him to be able to go. And Caleb Vogler got a little piece of it there as well in the 09. Now, there's the 8 of Pierce Crone. He went around, and I'm not exactly sure how. I thought he got through it. Oh, there was a stack up behind after the initial contact. I think he might have crowded up Zach Taylor. Watch carefully here in the middle of this mess. You'll see, oh, well, the 95 actually might have gotten a bump from behind by maybe Jordan Lopez. That sent him down into Pierce Crone. Boy, nice avoidance there by Andrew Davis, Alex Tanker, Mitchell Collins getting on the brakes to avoid this. Riley Henry right behind him as well. There's Colin Cropley boxed in there. He got kicked up to the high side 4 wide, remember, so he was back in the middle of all that. Nice avoidance by a bunch of drivers in that one to make sure that they were not involved. And a big reason why you wouldn't want to be involved in a wreck here at Michigan, you know, this track is referred to as a speedway / super speedway. And if you end up getting damage in any way, shape, or form, especially to the front end of your race car, that's going to hurt you aerodynamically and take you pretty much out of this race. I mean, maybe you can stay up in the draft, maybe have a shot at it, but aero damage is certainly something you don't want, especially with the long straights here at Michigan. Lights on, still atop the pace car and around this racetrack. Carson Grubb won the battle off of pit road, so he'll be the one to lead us back to green. Will Goss will be second. Trent Dunham, Michael Norman, rather, will be in 3rd. 4th place, Mike Tellier. 5th place, Jacob Thibodeau. Alexander Rose 6th. Allison Rodrigo will be 7th. 8th, Daniel Voyles. 9th is James Shelley, who started shotgun the field, so already up inside the top 10. And Kat Batson is going to complete the top 10. Let's take the opportunity here, while we are still under caution, to document the new car in the field. Dodge makes its return to the Duracell Cup Series. We did not have a Dodge in the field back in the season opener at Daytona, and until this point, we did not have a Dodge Charger in the field. Well, we do now, as the number 44, piloted by rookie Reggie Fogelman, is going to right now be running in the 21st position. That's an entry out of 4 Racing Enterprises. Fogelman going to be sharing this ride with Daniel Silla, who we'll see next week at Pikes Peak. And then in 2 weeks' time at Texas Night, a very familiar name to people here on the NNSCRA Sports and Gaming channel, Chris Washer, will be stepping in and doing the driving duties of the 44. So, be interesting to see how that team does. People might think, well, it's awfully far into the season for a team to be able to formulate and still hope to make it into the playoffs. But, again, like I mentioned earlier, if you've got a victory, then you automatically leapfrog everybody else ahead of you in the point stands. And in the case of the 95 team out of Evans Gardner Motorsports, right now they are only sitting at 41 points behind the next team in the standings, the 39 team out of KB Racing Enterprises. That's only about a race behind. So they've actually done a good job with their performances to be able to keep themselves up there in the hunt to maybe even start climbing through the standings spot by spot without even a victory. There's still plenty of time in the regular season. So, I mean, keep an eye on the 44 team. See if they're going to be able to do the exact same thing. Of course, they very well might be able to get themselves a few victories here during the regular season and still be dead last in points, which doesn't matter. If they've got the wins, they'd be in the playoffs. Carson Grob, 65 team, which comes in this race 10th in the overall standings, leads us back to green. Lap 8 of 80 going to go up on the board. See how anxious these drivers are going to be with a single file restart to get back to 3 and 4 wide racing. As Will Goss going to face a challenge on the outside, Michael Norman with help from Mike Tellier. They've also got Alexander Rowe up there in the 78. 3 cars in the top, 3 cars in the bottom. Carson Grob might be 2 out in front. He might get eaten up by these guys here in just a few moments. As Thibodeau now going to jump down to the inside, 3 wide for the runner-up spots. Of course, the 6 car going to victory lane last week at Pucaco with Zach Rogers, picking up yet another victory in his Duracell Cup Series career. That moved the 6 team up to 5th in the overall standings coming to this one as well. And as we saw earlier with the graphic, they right now would hold a playoff position with that victory. It was a team that started out very, very slow during the start of the season, was mired down the point stands, and they've kind of come alive in the last couple of weeks. On the flip side, you look at the driver running in 2nd place, No Limits Racing, Allison Rodrigo. I mean, that team was up inside of the top 10 for the first 3 or 4. Oh, contact! Hold on. We'll get to that in a moment. James Shelley just went up the racetrack with Mike Tellier. They both hit and bounced off the wall, and everybody's going to be able to get around them. But that was a close call for the 31 and the 55. I don't know how much damage they might have gotten out of that. They certainly lost momentum. We'll keep documented on them if they're going to still be up to speed. Oh yeah, Shelley's got some damage visibly there on the right side. Mike Tellier might have gotten away with one, but they've certainly both lost out on track position. But going back to the 21 car, as this is awfully close between Thibodeau and Harrison Ponder. Cole Deaver now getting into this mix, but the 21 team now comes into this race 21st in the point stand. So it's incredible when you look at the points after Daytona or even after Manassas and Las Vegas, see the drivers that were up there in the point standings then and where they are now, as opposed to the drivers that started out the season outside the top 20 in the point standings, and now they're up inside the top 10. It's amazing how the momentum shifts week after week. They caught Carson Grob, and Jacob Thibodeau has taken the top position, 4 wide. Riley Henry in the middle of this with Harrison Ponder. That's Jackie Halleck on the inside line in the 12 car. And right behind them, there's Adam Garcia in the 2. Garcia got his first career win here last year. Driving for Young Motorsports, now back with the team and looking for back-to-back victories. Beat out his teammate then and teammate now, RJ Bishop, to be able to pick up that first career win here. Ford has won 3 of the 4 races that we've run at Michigan here in the Duracell Cup Series. As again, some contact being made. That time, Alexander Rowe and Riley Henry 4 wide behind them. Cat Batson, Zach Taylor, I don't like this. And it's going to be another caution. They're just not given the room necessary. Mike Tellier is involved. James Shelley got a big hit. Zach Taylor's now collected up in it along with Robert Crown Jr. Look out, Daniel Voiles. What an avoidance there. Andrew Davis was collected. Oh, we were just talking about the 21 team having a great run. And Rodrigo is collected. There is Ryan Acosta. He's got some damage on the back end. I don't know if he got hit from behind or if he just got jacked up in the stack up. Michael Norman's got some pretty good right side damage. Matthew Rodriguez, who is off the pace, sees all of these cars now damaged. Those are positions and points he can pick up. Rodrigo's day is over. And Thibodeau led us back to the start-finish line. So he will be the one to maybe lead us back to green on the next restart, unless these drivers elect to come down pit road yet again. They came down pit road, back on lap 3. Some drivers elected to go with fuel only. Some drivers went with right sides, and majority of the field went with 4 tires. Let's go back and see what happened. This is going to be the running theme, I think, for during the course of this race, is you can hold it 4 wide, but you've got to give room. And there was no room given there between Cat Batson, Zachary Taylor, and Andrew Davis. We'll go to, again, the camera view that we used prior to see the first caution that came out. It's just hard to tell from that camera angle who pushed up, who didn't. But there was clearly no room given. Reggie Fogelman with a nice job there. Getting to the inside, Alex Tanker. Watch the 55 right side of your screen. Mike Tellier, the pole sitter, nowhere to go. Might be the second straight week the 55 team gets a DNF. Look at the whole left front wheel, or right front wheel well, rather, of the Blame Shelley Insurance Camaro get ripped off. There's Norman. There's Ryan Acosta. He might have gotten a shot at the 32 from behind by Michael Norman. I'm not certain. Look at Taylor sliding, trying to avoid Caleb Fogler. He's then going to get up into Robert Crown Jr. Those two are going to go for a spin. And watch the 47. Watch Daniel Voiles here. Which way are they going? Are they going low? Are they going high? Well, I'll go down. Nope, actually changed my mind. Jerk the steering wheel back to the right. Narrowly avoids both the 95 and the 77. That was a close call. Might take it on board there with the 47 in a moment. I want to go a little bit further back here, see about drivers like Michael Norman and Ryan Acosta, how they got involved. Because they were actually a ways back behind this. We're going to go with the helicopter cam, see if that gives us an idea. So the wreck's taking place up on the top of your screen, just coming into view. There was a second group back behind this first group, and I think maybe they just didn't slow down fast enough. Norman's going to get hit by Robert Crown Jr. and Ryan Acosta. There's Shelley getting into Andrew Davis. So yeah, what actually happened was the field got split up kind of into 2 groups. And when the tail end of the first group was wrecking, the second group didn't slow up in time. So that's why we saw the hard hits, especially by the 32, the 1, the 31, and the 55. So, caution out for the second time today. The garage area going to be starting to fill up here. Looks like Jackie Halleck is going to be the leader when we go back green. Again, since the ticker's not working, we're just going to be using the old ticker just for information. So apologies if it doesn't look quite as professional as it has in the last couple of weeks. But the drivers out of the race at this point in time, all from that incident, are going to be Robert Crown Jr., Allison Rodrigo, and James Shelley. And that is going to hurt all 3 of those teams. Obviously, the 77 team already has a win with Robert Crown Jr. back at Las Vegas, so they're still, at this point in time, in the playoffs. But the 21 team, mentioned they were 21st in the points coming to this one. They're out of the race. And then the 31 team are 23rd in the points coming to this race. So both of those teams, the 31 and the 21, those teams really could not afford a DNF here today, or, well, wouldn't necessarily say couldn't afford, but they really didn't need that. So they're trying to get some good momentum back, and obviously that's not going to be the case. We'll give you a rundown of the lineup here in just a moment. I want to address a question that I'm seeing in the current YouTube chat on why the 44 car is not a 9 car. Well, the reason for that is the team owner chooses the number. That would have been Daniel Silla, the owner of 4 Racing Enterprises. The drivers that come on board have to adhere to that same number. They can choose the primary sponsor that they want, but they have to have that same number if they are driving for that team. So therefore, you'll be seeing Daniel Silla in the 44 car next week at Pikes Peak, and in 2 weeks' time at Texas, Chris Washer will also be in the 44. All right, here's the way that they line up here, as we should get the 1 to green, working our second caution of the day. Jackie Halleck, the race leader. Cole Deaver lines up second. Colin Cropley is in third. Adam Garcia fourth. Reggie Fogelman right now in the 5th position in his debut. Alexander Rowe in 6th. 7th is Jacob Thibodeau. 8th place, Jordan Lopez. 9th is Caleb Fogler. And 10th is Pierce Crone. Those 2 drivers right there, the 09 and the 8, have been involved in at least one of the incidents so far today. So we'll keep an eye on that. Riley Henry lines up at 11th. 12th place, Kat Batson. 13th, Alex Tanker. 14th is Benjamin Miles with damage on the front end of his race car. Practically no front end on the 55 of Mike Tellier, but he's still in 15th. There is some damage on the front end of Will Goss. I didn't see him get involved in an incident, but he's got some battle scars. 16th is where he'll restart. Daniel Boyle 17th, Matthew Rodriguez 18th, Andrew Gonzalez right now 19th, and Mitchell Collins completes top 20. Carson Grob is back in 21st. Ryan Acosta 22nd. 23rd, Andrew Davis, Harrison Ponder in 24th. 25th is where we find Zach Taylor and Michael Norman, last car running and still on the lead lap, in the 26th position. Lights out. We go back green this time by. In the previous races we ran here at Michigan, we ran 60 laps in total, 120 miles. We've added an extra 40 miles on to the distance for these drivers this season, and so it'll be interesting to see how those extra 20 laps come into play. I'm trying to remember back which season it was, season 1 or season 2. I want to say it was season 2 where we saw the Michigan race turn into a fuel mileage strategy race. So 2 early cautions here. We'll see if the field gets spread out and if we end up seeing fuel strategy come into play in the latter stages, as Jackie Halleck gets us back under the green flag on lap number 18. As a matter of fact, bear with me. We're going to try something here real quick. Now it's covered up. Never mind. Well, we won't even bother to have the ticker up anyway, because it doesn't really matter right at this point in time. Right, Reggie Fogelman, could he lead his first career lap in his first career race? He's trying. That Dodge power. Really surprised that even at the start of the season, we didn't have a Dodge in the field, especially with what Bulldog Motorsports was able to do in previous seasons. Zach Rogers and Ryan Brommer always seem to have those Dodges up in the playoffs. Of course, Ryan Brommer came up just short of winning the championship to Ryan Acosta back in season 2, so it's not like the Dodges were lacking in any way, shape, or form, and so I'm really surprised we didn't have more Dodges in the field here this season. First time we get a Dodge. And it's 9 races into the schedule. Looks like the 08, or 09 rather, of Caleb Fogler, he's fine. He's got that front end damage. We know he made contact with another car, with the front end of his race car, but it is not affecting him speed-wise, and we're going 4 wide again, and we're wrecking again. This time, a lot of them are going to be in it. It's right up at the front of the field. And apparently drivers don't know what brakes are. Wow. That's almost a good dozen drivers right there involved in that one. And they're still wrecking up here in 3, apparently. Somebody else is in trouble. That's Kat Batson, the 39. And there are a lot of cars in this one. Ponder, Goss, Fogler. There's maybe only a half dozen drivers that got through that wreck unscathed. Points leader Pierce Crone's coming in. Day is done for the points leading team. There's Davis. There's the defending winner, Adam Garcia. Boy, there's not going to be many left, I don't think. And there's still a long ways to go in this race. Let's go back and see what happened. My goodness. Two things that I don't understand in the situations that we've seen here. The first one is the ability to give room. I understand you want to go for that position. You have the momentum. You want to take it 4 wide. But you've got to be aware, especially with the 2 early cautions we've had, you got to make sure you give room, or else this is going to be the end result. The second thing I don't understand is drivers further back not utilizing their brakes. Like, what the heck is that? Here's the 4 wide situation. Tanker, Lopez, Riley. It's almost like deja vu all over again. Riley Henry getting sent up into Alexander Rowe. He then clips Reggie Fogelman, who then clips Caleb Fogler. So you have the whole track blocked up. Big hit there for Jackie Halleck. Davis is going to get hit from behind by, I believe, Matthew Rodriguez. There's where Pierce Crone gets into it. Into Garcia. Goss was into the back of Rodriguez. Ryan Acosta's going to slam into the back of the 8, I do believe. Oh, and then Harrison Ponder runs over Mitchell Collins, who was on the brakes. Will Goss gets into Garcia, as does Andrew Gonzalez. And then watch up here. Mike Tellier, look at that car, hard on the brakes. The whole back end of the car popping up into the air because the front end downforce with hitting the brakes is taking place. And there's Carson Grubb. That's over in turn 3. Oh, he went through the grass. And he never slowed. Watch this. 165 down to 160, down to 155. Slides back up the track, and just nowhere for Cat Batson to be able to go. Colin Cropley very nearly missed that one. He almost got clipped in the left rear quarter panel. So that's what the smoke was over in 3, but my goodness. Well, you want an idea of what I'm talking about drivers not using their brakes? Let's take an onboard here. Give you an idea exactly of what I'm talking about. I mean, drivers that were even way back behind this wreck, I don't know if they even lifted. We'll find out. We're going to go inside the cockpit of the number 19 car of Matthew Rodriguez, who took a big shot. Well, he lifted, but he breathed the throttle. He lifted for a split second and then mashed the throttle again. So I'm not necessarily certain we can call that a slowing down. Some other drivers behind. Let's take a look at Mitchell Collins, who I thought did a good job of slowing down, and then he got hit from behind for his troubles. That was Harrison Ponder you saw there in the rearview mirror. Collins had it missed. He was slowed. All right, let's take a look here at an onboard with the car that went through the grass, Carson Grob. See if he even made an attempt to slow that car when he was going down through the infield. As a matter of fact, he might have gotten blocked down there by the very car that he hit. Watch ahead when we take this this onboard. The purple machine is Cat Batson, the car that he makes contact with then further up in turn 3. You heard him bail out of the throttle, hoping that it was not going to drift up the track, but that was obviously not the case. Oof, he almost got clobbered by Will Goss. Oh, there's Benjamin Miles, Matthew Rodriguez as well. Well, no doubt the garage area is going to be filling up once again. And I think it's going to be coming down to a race of survival now for a number of these drivers. Not even to the halfway point. We just passed the quarter point of this race. Now let's see who currently is out. Surprisingly, not as many drivers as I would have thought. I believe only 4 drivers went back behind the wall after that incident. And they're going to be Harrison Ponder, Matthew Rodriguez, Benjamin Miles, and Pierce Crone. So that is 2 drivers right there. Top 2 in the point standings currently, the 8 and the 19 that are out of this race. That opens the door for the 93 team, the 78 team, the 6 team, even the 0, 9, and 1 teams to be able to have an opportunity here. They are within a 1 race striking distance of those 2 respective teams. You know, it's a long shot for a couple of those teams, like the 1, the 32, and the 0, 9. But they've got a shot to maybe be the no points leader when we get into next week's race, which of course is going to be at Pikes Peak. That track has always brought about some really exciting racing. Alexander Rowe in the field here today in the 78, actually a former winner there. It's where he got his first and up to this point only career win in the Duracell Cup Series. Well, it's Jacob Thibodeau, the race leader. Colin Cropley in second. Third, Alex Tanker. Fourth is Cole Deaver. Fifth, Mike Tellier. Sixth, Daniel Voiles. Seventh, Michael Norman. Eighth, Zach Taylor. Carson Grob in ninth, and Kat Batson completes the top 10. That's Andrew Gonzalez, Riley Fogelman, Mitchell Collins, Alexander Rowe, Ryan Acosta, the top 15. Riley Henry, Caleb Fogler, Will Goss, Andrew Davis, Adam Garcia. That's your top 20, followed by Lopez and Halleck. 22 drivers all in the lead lap left to finish this thing out. But I guarantee you a lot of them are going to be majorly off the pace. Now, so far coming into this race, Blue Oval Automotive has 2 victories here at Michigan. Young Motorsports 1, and Northeast Motorsports, the only non-Ford manufactured team that had a win here with Nathan Hudson back in Season 3. They will not be doubling down with Harrison Ponder, the only entry they have in the field week after week out of the race. So, unless Jordan Lopez or Adam Garcia are able to find something with their wounded machines, looks like we are guaranteed not only a new winner here at Michigan, but a new team winning here in the Irish Hills. Cole Deaver had a breakout season last year. Making it into the playoffs, had 2 victories to his credit. He's trying to hunt down Jacob Thibodeau, who so far in his career has had a multi-win season. Had 2 wins back in his debut season of Season 3, and then 2 wins last season as well. Mentioned about the 6 team with their victory last week, courtesy of Zach Rogers being 5th in points, while the 0-3 team is 16th in points. There's the 47 car of Daniel Voiles. 3rd place is where he currently runs, and that team is 12th in the point standings coming into this one. As Alexander Rowe and Carson Grob, they're going to battle for 4th place, advantage to the Toyota. When we showed you the graphic earlier on, right now, both of the Auto Junction racing cars would be in the playoffs. The 77 team by virtue of the victory back at Las Vegas, and the 78 team by virtue of being 2nd in the overall standings. But if Alexander Rowe could find victory lane here today, then we might be looking at both of those cars out of that respective team locked into the playoffs. Amazing that 39 car is still up to speed. Kat Batson trying to hold off Reggie Fogelman. That is for 6th. Colin Cropley right there as well. Making a 3-man fight for a spot just outside of the top 5. You see the fuel cell out the back of the Aussie Ford Mustang, but still hanging on tough. Alex Tanker in 9th place looks on. Waiting to see which lane might open up to be able to pick up a position. I think as the run goes on, the 39 is going to continue to lose spots, but you know, I might see some of these unorthodox calls of damaged cars starting up towards the front of the field on restarts based off of strategy, just in the thought process of, yeah, the faster cars will get around me, but if I have this track position on other drivers that are as damaged, if not more so than I am, I can at least keep those drivers at bay and keep those positions. Positions equal points, and points are very important, and I think that points are going to be super important down the home stretch because, like I've already said, and I keep saying this and I will continue to say this, I think in order to absolutely lock yourself into the playoffs, you need 2, maybe 3 victories for your team car. If you've got only 1 victory, it's going to come down to who's the highest in the point standings for those final spots in the playoffs. So to that point, you want to get every position you can every single week. Whether you have a win or whether you don't have a win. You want to have yourself positioned in the standings for that moment, if you are able to get a win, to then just leapfrog you over the rest of the competition. We've got 7 cars up in this lead pack right now. We might have an 8th if Alex Tanker can catch on to the tail end of this draft. But he needs some help, and the field is just so spread out right now. There is Jordan Lopez back here. Right now in the 10th position. He's got rookie Riley Henry there with him. That's 10th and 11th. A couple of Ford Mustangs. Be interesting to see if these two would form an alliance, because remember, the 99 team, Shadow Cult Racing, is owned by Levi McIntyre, who for several seasons was a driver for Blue Oval Automotive. So you got to wonder if maybe there could be a little alliance that would go on here with the possibility of Levi McIntyre getting in the ear of his driver saying, hey, that's a strong car up there. That's a championship winning car. Draft with him, work together, see if you can get up there and maybe reel in the 39, maybe reel in the 27. Here's a bunch of wounded race cars, but they're all battling for what would be the 12th position. Mike Tellier, Michael Norman, Caleb Fogler, Andrew Gonzalez, and Adam Garcia are in this group. So 12th back to 16th in this small little pack. And this is going to be a case, too, where you just got to kind of pick your battles. Figure out who you're up to speed with and basically use that as a measuring stick of, okay, I've got a car that can run 12th place. That's what I'm gunning for. I know I can't win this race, but if I've got a 10th place finishing car, an 11th place finishing car, that's where I'm finishing. That's what I'm battling for. Here's a train back here of wounded machines. Mitchell Collins, Andrew Davis rather, Will Goss, Zachary Taylor, and Ryan Acosta. That is 17th back to 21st. And then I believe I think a car just went a lap down, actually. Yeah, there he is. Jackie Halleck just got passed by the race leaders. So that was something I was just going to bring up, that it's going to really come down to now the race leaders, when they encounter the slower traffic, as to how that's going to play out. And I'm trying to remember back what race it was where we had the same issue take place. It might have actually been Vegas, if I'm not mistaken, where we saw the driver that maneuvered their way through the slower traffic when they caught them was the driver that was able to win the race. And that might be the case here in this one as well. Look at the drivers you've got here in this lead group right now. Alexander Rowe, Jacob Thibodeau, and Cole Deaver are the only ones who hold a victory in the Duracell Cup Series. Daniel Voiles, Colin Cropley, Carson Grob, and a debuting Reggie Fogelman, they are looking for the first wins of their Duracell Cup Series careers. And I got to remember back when we saw, Sean Arndt and Zachary Taylor, drivers of the 95 car, and what they were able to do in their debut races. And Reggie Fogelman is definitely stepping up here as well for his team right now, looking for second place. I'm trying to remember back outside of this season. I think there has never been a driver that has won a race in their debut. Now, obviously, this season there was a big opportunity for that to take place with Robert Crown Jr., William Micros. They ended up winning in their debut races, of course, their first career starts. But I don't think that outside of that, I'd have to look back through the record books, but I don't think that we've ever had a driver in their debut go to victory lane in a Duracell Cup Series race. So if Fogelman were able to do that, then he would be one of 3 drivers, along with the 2 aforementioned. We're not going to count back in Season 1, Race 1 at Daytona, because at that point, nobody had made a career start in the Duracell Cup Series. We are about to reach halfway through this race. We've got about 3 or 4 different groups here. The one group I'm a little bit of a question mark about is this duo right here of Jordan Lopez and Riley Henry. They've also reeled in Alex Tanker, so 3 Mustangs that can work together. And I mentioned the fact that Jordan Lopez won one of his 2 races here on fuel strategy. You gotta wonder if that's in the back of his mind. Now, he's been leading the 99, so he's not been able to save fuel creating the draft for Henry. But these guys are all going to have to pit at least one more time, maybe a second time before the close of this race. So, you know, is there already some planning going on there for an experienced veteran, a former champion like Jordan Lopez, to try and play a gamble to be able to pick up another win? Ooh, saw some sparks there off the 78 of Alexander Rowe. Just barely scraping the outside wall with that right rear flare just behind the rear tire. Doesn't look like it slowed him down any, but it's one of the arts of racing at a track like Michigan, and of course its sister track of Auto Club, is you want to make sure that you have that car up as close to the outside wall as possible to then arc and drive in and deep. We got smoke on the back straightaway. Caleb Fogler has gone around, and that is, I'm thinking, going to bring out a caution. Looking for the lights, and the yellow flag is out. Fogler has looped it around the back straightaways, so whatever fuel strategy we were suspecting could happen, that's gone away, and all these guys are racing back to the checkered, or not the checkered, but the caution. And I think Daniel Voiles led them back 3 wide. Andrew Davis and Zachary Taylor created a wall in front of the leaders to make sure that they did not go a lap down. That was interesting. Voiles indeed get the caution as the race leader. And that was Acosta, Taylor, and Davis that built a wall in front of the leaders to make sure they didn't go a lap down, racing back to that yellow flag. That was interesting. Caleb Fogler, it's not been an easy day for the driver of the 09, who is still running. That car was trying to get back up to speed after his loop on the back straightaway. Let's see what happened to him. Well, doesn't matter if you're off the pace by about 20, 25 miles per hour. These drivers are still taking it 4 wide. Norman, Fogler, Tellier, and Gonzalez. Look at this. This is for the 12th position. And we still can't get away from not giving room in 4 wide situations. Gonzalez, Tellier, and Fogler getting the worst of that exchange. Caution comes out. Now watch this. Here's the leader, Thibodeau. There's Voiles. There's Grubb. There's Cropley. They're catching up to the tail end of the field here. There's Davis. There's Taylor. There's Acosta. Watch them make a wall here. Davis pulls down to the inside of the 95. They might be dragging the brake a little bit. Acosta covers the middle. Taylor covers the top. They're 3 wide for the lead coming across the start finish line, but the slower cars built a wall knowing the yellow flag was out, so they could not get past and remained on the lead lap. That is maybe one of the most interesting things I think I've seen all season. Who would think that a strategy like that would be implemented in a race like this? Now, Mike Tellier and Caleb Fogler, when they spun out, they did get lapped. So coming back to the caution flag, they were scored -1. So they, along with Jackie Halleck, who was lapped under green, they cannot come to pit road until this next time by. Cole Deaver won the battle off of pit road when all the leaders came in. Well, Now he might be indicating he might be coming back down pit road. Let's wait and see what the call is here. Maybe he missed his pit stall. Maybe that's why he's as far up as he is. Nope, he's staying out. So he's going to be the one that will be leading us back to green in a couple of pacing laps. Daniel Voiles in second, Jacob Thibodeau third, fourth Alexander Rowe, and fifth is going to be Carson Grob. Again, reminder, next week, it's going to be the 10th race of the season here for the Duracell Cup Series. The regular season starting to get close to the halfway point. Of course, we're starting to get into all-star race season as well. And that's going to be at Pikes Peak next Saturday afternoon. Green flag scheduled to fly at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully, I'll have time to get the point stands done before the broadcast, and hopefully, we'll have a working ticker during that race as well. Hopefully I'll also have the correct title. Some people pointed out to me that when I went live initially, I had the title of my last stream, and when I loaded up OBS, I found out that somehow it had disconnected my account. I had to reconnect it, and it did not update the title. So my apologies for that. It's been an interesting one. Also, well, we got the opportunity here under pacing. Want to give a little bit of a shout out as on Saturday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, February 26th, be sure to tune into the Flat Out Racing Network for the 2022 NNSCRA Daytona 500 online special event. Just yesterday, the 2022 Next Gen mod by Full Circle Racing Designs was dropped on Stunod. And that is the mod that's going to be run for the online race. Should be a good one. If you're not already subscribed to Flat Out Racing Network, head on over there, subscribe, get notified for when broadcasts go up. I'm looking forward to what should be a good Daytona 500 race later on here in the month. If you've never raced online, you'd like to try it out, we've got on Saturday evenings the NNSCRA Next Gen Cup Series that runs online. If you're interested in joining an online league and learning all the ropes, feel free to message me on Facebook or on Discord. I'll get you set up, get you the information, and tonight we're going to be running at Nashville. Next week I believe we are running at a crazy track known as Mount Pocono, but if you want to come out and join us for some online racing on Saturday nights, again, get in touch with me and I will get you set up. Alright, we're doubled up with the lights out. 1 to green here at Michigan. We're now into the second half of this race. We're now into the nitty-gritty as well as far as strategy. We've not yet been able to go into a full fuel run. We don't know just how far these guys can really go and what they've got in the tank. I think we were about to get an idea there on that last run before the caution came out and spoiled it, so we'll see. I don't think they can make it 35 laps on what they got in the tank. I think they're going to have to pit at least one more time. The question is, when is the fuel window open? When do these drivers elect to make that final pit stop? Cole Deaver is the leader. Daniel Voiles second. Jacob Thibodeau, Alexander Rowe, Carson Grob. That is the top 5. Riley Henry, Jordan Lopez, Riley Fogelman, Alex Tanker. And it looks like Kat Batson. That is the top 10 as we get ready to go back green flag racing. Nobody out of the race after the last caution. Tellier and Fogler continue on, albeit one lap down. Cole Deaver back up through the gears as he will head for turn number 1. Voiles going for the race lead. We're going to just drop back here real quick. Keep an eye on these wounded race cars as drivers up to speed and try and make their way by. Riley Fogelman, Kat Batson, Carlin Cropley stuck on the inside line. Riley Henry stuck on the outside line. Looks like now they're all going to get themselves single-filed out and make their way through, as it will be a group of 6 that get away, led by Daniel Voiles. Daniel Voiles is not a stranger to victory lane here in the Duracell Cup Series, but never in a charter race. He was a non-charter winner back at Watkins Glen last season when he drove the 63 car as a non-charter entry out of KEB Racing Enterprises, now fully moving over full-time with Lake Effect Autosport. And let's also bear in mind, I think we were talking about this with Auto Junction Racing, but the same can apply for this two-car team. Bradley Ream already with a victory back at ISM in the 74 car. Well, if Daniel Voiles goes to victory lane here today, that would, at this point in time, put both of the Lake Effect Autosport cars into the current playoff standings. Oh boy. Look who's up in this top 6. Jordan Lopez. And he is trying to get 4th position from Jacob Thibodeau. So one of the best in the business when it comes to Michigan, as the statistics have shown. He is here and within striking distance now. That caution definitely helped him. It's like Fogelman, Cropley, and Tanker finally got by the slower traffic. They are in a 3-way battle for 7th. Riley Henry tried to get down and latch on with these guys, but he's lost that touch with them. And oh my goodness, we've got almost a flip. We were 4 wide again. Norman crowding into Cat Batson. Caution flies one more time here at Michigan. And Voiles is going to lead us back. That time it was 4 wide going into turn 1, not coming off of turn 2, and they still couldn't give each other enough room. Norman's car actually almost went up and over. It's a wonder that that car stayed on the ground. As Voiles going to pick up the pace car. And we will be getting a restart with less than 30 laps to go. There's the 39 of Kat Batson. It's kind of hard to see if there's any additional damage, as she's been involved in a number of wrecks during the course of this race. And there is Norman, that car somehow still running. I believe that Mike Tellier was in the vicinity of the 4 wide situation as well. I was more focused on the 2 cars going up the track, but it definitely was 4 wide, there's no doubt about that. I'll keep an eye on pit road here as well, see if anybody decides to hit pit lane. I don't think that they can even at this point in time make it the rest of the way, even if they came to pit road now, but then again, what do I know? There's been a lot of times here this season where I've said something and the drivers have proved me wrong. Michael Norman was, again, in a 4 wide situation. We'll see. It's going to be Bradley Ream in the 74 that makes a late duck to the inside of Mike Tellier, kind of catching him by surprise. You can't make that low of an entry that late. And you see Mike moves up the track because we saw the 74 down there last minute. To be honest, I'm almost wondering if the 39 came down a bit. Kat Batson was awfully wide there. Heading into turn 1, almost brushed the safer barrier, and I think she might have come down just a little bit to make sure that she didn't hit the wall going into the corner. So I think it was a combination there of Norman moving up to give room to the 55, who was moving up for the 74, but I think the 39 kind of crowded Michael down as well, and that's maybe why we've seen our first incident there into turn 1. Most of the 4 wide we've seen going into turn 1, it then culminates into a wreck by the time they get to turn 2. But they've been doing pretty good if there's 4 wide into turn 1 of giving each other the room. There wasn't a lot of room given there. I think there was just a lot of moving parts, and unfortunately for the 1 car and the 39 car, they were just in the same place at the same time. So while we've kind of been looking off of turn 2 and saying there's not been a lot of room given, I think that we can kind of give all the drivers a pass there for what happened over in turn number 1. The end result, though, is that both Michael Norman and Kat Batson, they've got some pretty extensive damage now to their race cars, even more so than what they had prior. And so they're going to have to deal with that for the remainder of the race. Well, pit road was open, and there were no takers, so that's interesting. Maybe this caution was exactly what these drivers needed to save a little bit of fuel to be able to make it the rest of the way. I don't know. I'm not certain that how long we went on that last green flag run in terms of laps turned. I don't think we were in the vicinity of 30 laps. We might have maybe made 20 laps under green before the caution came out, so Boy, I'd love to be a fly down the wall of the pit stalls right now. See the crew chiefs working the calculators and see just how close it really is. Let's give you a full field rundown here, as we should get the 1 green signal next time by, I do believe. Daniel Boyle's the race leader. Alexander Rowe lines up in second. Carson Grob is third. Jacob Thibodeau fourth. Jordan Lopez is fifth. Sixth, Cole Deaver. Seventh, Riley Fogelman. Eighth, Alex Tanker. Ninth place, Colin Cropley, and Riley Henry is going to complete the top 10. Andrew Gonzalez in 11th. Adam Garcia in 12th. Will Goss 13th. Mike Tellier is a lap down in the 20th position. 14th place is Mitchell Collins. 15th, Andrew Davis. Jackie Halleck is also a lap down, as is Caleb Vogler. They're 21st and 22nd. Zachary Taylor is the next lead lap car in 16th. Ryan Acosta 17th. 18th, Michael Norman, and 19th, Kat Batson. Let's talk about points here for a moment. I mentioned about how there are a couple of teams, if they had a good performance here today, they could take the points lead heading into Pikes Peak next week, with the 8 team and the 19 team being out of the race early. Right now, the 2 teams that are jumping up to the forefront for me are the 78 car and the 6 car. Right now running 2nd and 4th. 78 team came into this race 4th in the point standings, a total of 38 points behind the points leading team. And then the 6 team came into this race 5th in the point standings, a total of, the math will quickly work with me here, 43 points behind the top team. Most points you can gain in a race are 49 points. 42 points for winning the race, 5 bonus points for the victory, and then a point for leading the lap and a point for leading the most laps. Thibodeau has been out in front for a couple of times in this race. So I don't know if he would get the most laps led or not. Alexander Rowe has not spent as much time out in front. Unfortunately, with not having the ticker, I cannot look and see who led how many laps. We have to wait on the export later on when the race is concluded. Right now, look at those 2 drivers to maybe have a shot here of sniping the points lead away from the 8 team heading into next week. Even if they don't win, though, I think it's going to be really close between the 8, the 19, the 78, the 6. Don't count out the 93 of Andrew Davis back there. He's still in this race. The 09 of Caleb Vogler is still in this race. The 1 of Michael Norman, the 32 of Ryan Acosta, they're still in this race. So you can't count these guys out just yet. Alex Tanker's 27 is still in this race. 9th in the point standings. Carson Grob 65, 10th in the point standings, still in this race. So it's still close. It's still very close. There's only 50 points separating the top 10 in the overall point standings coming into this race. That's just a little more than a full race between 1st through 10th. So there is a big opportunity here today, especially with the top 2 in points out of this race, for drivers to find themselves in the hunt for the points lead by the time we get to Pikes Peak next week. All right, officially it is going to be 27 laps to go here at Michigan. Have we seen our final caution of the day? Is it now you got what you got, race it back to the checkers? Do they have enough fuel to be able to get back to the checkered flag? Daniel Voiles leads us back to the start-finish line. We're back underway here at Michigan International. If you're a lead lap car, you want to get by the slow machines as soon as possible. Thibodeau did not do that. He went to the middle, got pinned behind Jackie Halleck. Jordan Lopez up the outside, took the spot away for 5th rather. Now he's to the inside of Carson Grob for 4th place, but he chose the wrong line. He got stuck behind Tellier. Now he puts Tellier to the top, has him blocking Cole Deaver, so Lopez is going to take the 4th position. Deaver now will get to the inside of the 55. Thibodeau finally to the inside of Jackie Halleck. Halleck's created a wall there for Tanker. Riley Fogelman down to the inside with Riley Henry, so a couple of Rileys there. Or make that Reggie Fogelman and Riley Henry. Tanker around the outside of Jackie Halleck. All these drivers trying to make their way around the slower machines. Colin Cropley's going to get boxed in back there. Will Goss, Mitchell Collins. And now Fogelman, Henry, and Tanker go to work and put Mike Tellier in their rearview mirror. These guys trying to get up here to the lead group. Trying to latch on to Thibodeau, who's trying to latch on to Deaver, who's trying to latch on to Lopez, who's looking ahead at the top 3. Ford, Toyota, and Chevrolet right now, your top 3. then the Ford of Lopez, then the Chevrolet of Cole Deaver. If they are close on fuel, you have to think that leading this race is not a good thing, because you're not going to have the opportunity of saving any fuel being back in draft. Daniel Voiles, right now, out in that clean air, that's the good thing. It allows the car to be able to turn off the corner. The bad thing is, though, he's going to be using up more fuel than the drivers behind him. And look at how Alexander Rowe doesn't seem any too keen to draft right up to the back bumper of the 47. I think he might be saving right now. Driver that's not saving is Jordan Lopez. He's up to the back bumper of Carson Grob for the 3rd position. But not stepping out of line to make a move just yet. Now Grob with a bit of a bubble push there from the 38. He's going to step out on Alexander Rowe. Lopez did not go with him, though. Jordan Lopez jumps up to the top side. Can he stay to the right rear quarter panel of the 65 and get the draft off the 78 here on the front straightaway? He's trying. Look at him moving down, trying to get the side draft. I don't think he's going to get that pass made, though. I think he's going to have to give up the spot by the time to get here to turn number 1. And that's going to open the door for Cole Deaver to look to the inside for 4th place. These 4 all trying to stay single file, all trying to reel in the top 5. Thibodeau, Fogelman, Henry, and Tanker. As Fogelman got a nice run there on Thibodeau, he might actually go for 6th place, and he will. Had the momentum, had the space. Cropley right now running back in the 10th position, trying to hold off Andrew Gonzalez. Adam Garcia right there as well in the 2 car. Mitchell Collins and Will Goss, battered machines, battling for 13th. As you look on through the remainder of the cars, Ryan Acosta, last car on the lead lap, way off the pace in 19th place. He's got about a little less than half a racetrack between himself and the race leader Daniel Voiles. I think it's safe to say if we went green to the finish, leaders would at least catch the 32 before this one is over. Lopez and Deaver. That's for 3rd. Lopez has the preferred lane on the inside line going into the corner, but the outside line seems to get a better run off the corner and down the straightaway. See Lopez kind of trying to move up, trying to pinch Cole Deaver up against that outside wall. I think Lopez may have him cleared this time. Short way around the racetrack, gets back to the throttle, will slide right up in front of the 0-3. No, actually kept it down low there, maybe to avoid giving the draft to the 0-3 of Deaver and allowing him to get a run on him going down to turn 1. So move Lopez up to the 3rd spot. We have never had a driver win at a specific racetrack 3 times. Jordan Lopez could be the first. Of course, Lopez is used to making history. He was the first driver to ever win back-to-back races at a racetrack. It was right here at Michigan, seasons 1 and 2. Of course, he's got a championship under his belt from season 3. And now trying to continue to build on his resume. But Daniel Voiles, at this point in time, appears to have the strongest car in the field. I don't know if that's necessarily just based off his track position or based off the fact that, I mean, let's be honest, he may have the cleanest car in the field, maybe the only one that hasn't really been involved in any of the incidents here today. Now Lopez tried to get 2nd place from Rowe. Deaver pulled to the outside, and Lopez may be trapped on the inside line here. Carson Grob jumped up to the outside line with fellow Chevrolet Deaver. Now he dives back to the inside line. So all of a sudden, give the momentum back to the 38. Look out! Oh, Lopez almost got into Alexander Rowe, who left a lane open. And now Lopez moves to 2nd. Voiles barely keeps the lead, but Lopez takes a look to the inside down the back straightaway. That was a close call. And that might bring Jacob Thibodeau and company into the mix. Look at this. Thibodeau, Tanker, Henry. All of a sudden, they're up here in the hunt for the win now because of the leaders encountering the 32 over in turn 1. We've got some new players all of a sudden. Thibodeau now to the inside of Alexander Rowe. He lost a ton of momentum there with that. He might actually have some damage on the right side of the Starbucks Toyota. But this is now for 5th. Battle on ahead for 3rd place. Deaver looking to the inside of Carson Grob, who's done a great job here today in the 65 car. Even with that back end damage, has been able to stay up here inside of the top 5. That could be a big points day for the 65 team, 5th in the overall standings. As Fords right now, 1st and 2nd. Voiles trying to hold off Jordan Lopez. Gonna be another slow car to deal with. That's the 09 of Caleb Fogler. That car is so off the pace, he's able to actually run down the white line coming off of turn 2. And where are they going to catch him? Looks like maybe coming off of turn 4. Oh, where do you go if you're the leader? Oh, he went to the top, then he went to the bottom, but Lopez was there. Everybody diving down to the inside. We're 3 wide, 2 rows deep. Voiles chose wrong, and Lopez will go to the lead. Now Deaver looks to the inside going into 1. All of a sudden, 9 cars up in this lead pack, and Cole Deaver's going to go to the top position. It was only 2 cars, then it was 3, then it was 5. Now it's 9 drivers with a shot of winning this race. And the odds of a first-time winner right now are 5-4. Thibodeau, Lopez, Deaver, and Rowe are the former winners in the Duracell Cup Series. Look at Fogelman! 3 wide on the inside line of Cole Deaver. The lone dodge in the field. Trying to get the top position. This may have actually been a blessing for Daniel Voiles, because now he's at the tail end of this pack and he can start to save some fuel. That's not what he was able to do for a majority of this run, as we're 3 wide, 3 rows deep. Oh my goodness, guys, I'm starting to get a little bit nervous, because if the door is open for 4 wide, would these race leaders be willing to take it? We're already 3 wide, a couple of rows deep. Alex Tanker, now to the point. The Joanna Atwood Motorsports entry. 27 team, 9th in the overall standings coming into this one. Now Thibodeau looking for the race lead. Voiles back to the inside, 3 wide for 3rd with Riley Henry. Is Voiles pitting? Voiles is low on the track. I think he's coming to pit road. Thibodeau is in. Lopez is in. Deaver is in. They couldn't make it on fuel. So it was basically a moot point. Cat Batson's coming off pit lane. There is no way these drivers could make it on fuel. This is the final pit stop, the money stop, with 11 and a half laps to go. Fogelman lifted there off of turn 2. I think he might be coming this time. What about the 99 of Henry? What about the 65 of Grob? Rose coming in. 78 just backed off back there at the tail end of this pack. Tanker's going to be the only one staying out. 99, 65, 44, and 78 on pit lane this time. You saw the 95 on pit road. I think the 17 and the 12 ducked onto pit lane just ahead of the race leaders. And much like a super speedway, you kind of want to come to pit road with somebody so you have some drafting help when you leave. Tanker's going to be all by his lonesome, maybe. He is going to get a tow off of the now merging Cole Deaver, as well as Daniel Voiles. So we always got to back off, though, because they'd have him pinned to the outside line. He wouldn't be able to get to pit road. So Tanker in the Geico Ford now going to hit pit lane. That's going to be the last of the race leaders to come down pit road. This right here could be your exchange for the race lead within a lap's time. Voiles getting by Thibodeau. Cole Deaver moving by the 6 as well. And almost into the left rear quarter panel of the 47. And here come the rest of the mergers. Grob, Rowe, Fogelman, contact! Into the wall went the 65. Off the nose of the 44. That stacked everyone up. It's a wonder Voiles didn't run to the back of anybody. 65's got damage on the right side now. No caution, but that was a close call there. And I'll tell you who that's going to favor, and that's going to favor Alex Tanker, because with all these guys getting stacked up, If he nailed his pit stop, I think he's going to come out the race leader still. What a tough break there for Carson Grob. That right side damage is going to affect his straightaway speed. I think he could still finish up inside the top 10, but he had a shot potentially for the win. Where's Tanker in the 27? There he is, just now merging back onto the track. Riley Henry, actually, I think is going to get the race lead. He just swung around the outside. The last time the 99 car went to victory lane was Season 3 in the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte. 99's only been to victory lane twice in its career, both times with Levi McIntyre, the aforementioned Charlotte race, and then the season before that in New Hampshire. Slow cars in the way here for the two race leaders of Henry and Tanker. And Henry left the door open. Tanker's going to stick his nose in there. And watch further back there with Voiles, Thibodeau and company. Can they have a shot? Oh, 93 is really slow. Really slow. Is he out of fuel? Man, that car just all of a sudden died off of turn 4. Voiles now trying to get to the inside of Collins. He'll do so. Deaver's boxed in back there. Lopez is boxed in back there. All these guys trying to make their way through traffic as Tanker is gone. Tanker with the top position is gone. But is he too far out in front? Riley Henry, Daniel Voiles, if they can get themselves clear of traffic, they might have enough time to get back up there. Got about 6 cars here that are up to speed. Trying to reel in the 27, who's now going to get by Ryan Acosta. About to put the former Michigan winner, Adam Garcia, a lap down. That's what, right now, the strategy's got to be for the 27. Just put the slower cars in his rearview mirror. Force these guys to have to work their way through the traffic as well. Fogelman has the inside advantage on Voiles. He'll take second. He'll get by Acosta. He'll get by Garcia. He'll leave the lane open for Voiles, Henry, Deaver, Thibodeau, and Rowe to be able to follow through. And I think he's got the draft of the 27. Lopez has lost this group. So it does not look like Lopez is going to pick up his third win here at Michigan. Still 5 laps to go next time by, and look how quickly the 27 got reeled in, much like at a super speedway. If you got friends to draft with, you're going to reel in that car that's all by its lonesome. Does Voiles step out of line here? All these drivers should be good to make it to the checkered flag now and what they've got in the tank. Deaver, nice arc out of turn 4. He'll step inside of Daniel Voiles for second place. I could be wrong in this, but I don't believe the 27 car has ever gone to victory lane in a Duracell Cup Series race. As Michael Norman coming off pit lane, I don't think the leaders are going to have to worry about him. You saw him actually pull it down even further on the apron to get out of the race leader's way. Veteran move there by Michael Norman, not wanting to be a factor to spoil this battle for the race win. Got another slow car up ahead. That's going to be Andrew Gonzalez in the 74. Now, he's a teammate to the 47 of Daniel Voiles, so we'll see if he does anything to try and help Voiles get back to the front. Deaver sees the slow car ahead. He's going to get to the inside of Alex Tanker here, picking his moment, and he might be able to box the 27 in. He does. What a move there by Cole Deaver. And that just wadded him up behind the 27. Fogelman had to lift. Rowe had to lift. But much like we saw Alex Tanker get reeled in, I don't think that Cole Deaver is home free. He's going to get reeled in as well. It's next time by. 3 laps to go at Michigan. Tanker back on the attack. Fogelman right there as well. What a story it's been for Reggie Fogelman, making his debut here today. Dodge's return to the series for the first time in Season 5, and he's got a shot to win in his debut race here at Michigan. He'd be the second rookie to ever take a checkered flag here at Michigan. Nathan Hudson was the first back in Season 3. Fogler in the way, wads him up again. Deaver in the wrong lane on the top side. Same for Riley Henry. Now they'll put the 093 wide. 2 laps to go here at Michigan. Ford has 3 victories here. Chevrolet 1. You've got a Dodge in third, a Dodge in second, and a Toyota in third. Those manufacturers have never won here at Michigan. 1.5 laps to go. Right now, Alexander Rowe is the highest running former winner. The odds are in favor of a first-time winner. 3 of the top 4 have never taken a checkered flag in their Duracell Cup Series career. White flag will be displayed this time as Voiles looks for third on Rowe. Does Reggie Fogelman have anything for the Geico Ford? Do we have traffic ahead? Colin Cropley not that far away. I don't know if they'll catch him there or not. 3 wide for third. Deaver puts Voiles in the middle. Rowe's going to lose a ton of spots there as now Jacob Thibodeau gets a run. Fogelman's got one more shot here in 3 and 4. He's got a nice draft up to the back of the 27. Tanker trying to block, trying to figure out where Fogelman would go if he gets a run off of turn 4. Alex Tanker, car length in hand. Alex Tanker is going to get his first career win, and it takes place today at Michigan International. Joanna Atwood Motorsports gets their first win of Season 5. The 27 team gets their first win of Season 5. And that team overall came into this race 9th in the point standings. So they right now would sit in a playoff position at the conclusion of today's event. First career win for Alex Tanker in the Duracell Cup Series. And Ford now goes 4 for 5 in taking checkered flags here at this 2-mile speedway. It's also the 3rd straight season that Michigan has given us a first career win, with Hudson doing it back in Season 3, and of course Garcia doing it last year in Season 4. Well, it took us a lot of crashing and carnage to get to the end of this one. Several drivers back in the garage area, 8 in total by the conclusion. But a great finish here at Michigan, as we would expect. And Alex Tanker is going to get to burn it down for the first time here in the Duracell Cup Series. Tanker started this race from the 25th position, so had to work his way up through the field, through the wrecks, and reaps the rewards. Fogelman, what a debut for him, though. Finishing in 2nd place. Cole Deaver brings the 0-3 home in 3rd. Daniel Voiles will finish in 4th, and Jacob Thibodeau in 5th. We only had 10 drivers finish on the lead lap, so the final survivors were Alexander Rowe, Riley Henry, Jordan Lopez, Carson Grob, and Colin Cropley. All 10 of those teams are really going to reap in some good points here today, because a lot of drivers inside the top 10 in the point standings, a lot of teams inside the top 10 in the point standings did not fare quite as well. Off the lead lap, Andrew Gonzalez in 11th, Mitchell Collins 12th, Will Goss in 13th. Cat Batts and Adam Garcia completed the top 15. Andrew Davis, Michael Norman, and Zachary Taylor, they were the last drivers to finish 1 lap down to 18th. Ryan Acosta and Jackie Hallett completed the top 22 laps down. Caleb Fogler just finished out the race 3 laps down in 21st. Mike Tellier out of the race in the closing stages. Gearbox going on that wounded machine. He'll finish in 22nd. And the rest of these drivers were pretty much out after either the first or the second caution of the day. Harrison Ponder, Matthew Rodriguez, Benjamin Miles, Pierce Crone, Robert Crown Jr., Allison Rodrigo, and James Shelley. The 2 big ones in that, of course, the 19 and the 8, 24th and 26th, came into this race as the 1st and 2nd teams in the overall point standings. I don't think that the 6 or the 78 finished high enough that they'd be able to take the points lead heading into next week, but it's certainly going to be close between maybe 5 or 6 teams, maybe down to 10 points between 5 or 6 teams for the points lead when we get to Pikes Peak next week. But a great race here tonight at the Michigan International Speedway. Congratulations once again to Alex Tanker on the victory. Thank you all for tuning in here tonight. Again, apologies for the ticker issues here. Unfortunately, that is just part of the problems of broadcasting live. If something goes wrong, you don't really have the opportunity to go back and fix it before the broadcast takes place. So apologies for that. Hopefully we get that all fixed and remedied by the time we get to next week's event. But if you enjoyed this broadcast, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. Showing you full finish results from this race. We'll show you what the point standings look like at the beginning of next week's race, as the primary drivers will take to the racetrack for the 4th time this season at Pikes Peak International. But until then, I've been Seth Cole. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening, folks, and I'll see you guys here next weekend as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of the NNSCRA Sports and Gaming channel, Offline